Smile a lot. Be the nicest person that I can be to people, especially that I don't know.
All right, so welcome everyone to the Mid Podcast right here in Midtown Gainesville. My name is Frankie. I'm your host today. I'm here with my co-host Charles.
Yo.
And on today's episode, we have a special guest who I would consider a local celebrity by the name of KST, aka KennyStayTrill. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, who you are, what's going on.
So basically, one day I decided I wanted to be a DJ, and I told everyone I was a DJ. A year later, now I'm playing in every club. There's more details to that, but essentially, long story short, that's kind of what happened.
You thought it, you did it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool, man. I remember the day, not the day, but like around the time of you getting into it and starting to like become like, dude, I'm gonna do this DJ thing, and then like we're what, 2 years later, year and a half later, and you pretty much DJ'd every single like bar in Gainesville and then beyond.
Every apartment complex too.
All the pool parties and all that.
Yeah,
so that's awesome. I mean, I called you a local celebrity. Would you consider yourself a local celebrity?
To whatever extent. I mean, sometimes I'll go outside and have like 2 or 3 people say hi to me that I know, but it's like these are people that I know. These aren't just like fans, you know.
Right.
For the most part, these are all my friends. So
Yeah.
I see it like I know a lot of people.
Well, that's where a lot of it starts, and I think that it can be easy to misinterpret. Like, I mean, your fans and your friends, I think, kind of mesh together. That's like kind of what I've seen with,
100%.
is that, you know, that you'll be like, damn, I've got all these friends, and it's like, yo, dog, those are your fans.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the best advice that I got from my friend was that, like, these people don't listen to your music or come to see you because, like, they love you. Of course, they'll always love you. They love what you're producing, the product that you're producing, you know. And at the end of the day, your friends do become your fans. So, essentially, I guess I am a local celebrity.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I feel like whenever I go to Signal and Simon's or any of these places, I mean, I feel like you can walk into any place here in town and know someone.
Man, I swear, one night, I don't ever stay in one club. I literally cannot. I club hop, and it's just showing face. I like being a presence in places that my presence hasn't been shown, basically. It's like a lot of people are afraid to go talk to people, but essentially, like, I like going to talk to the owners, important people. I mean, important, but, you know, up to you to judge who's important.
Yeah.
Important to whatever you got going on, essentially.
So you've been in every single club. You've played at every single club in Gainesville. What, like, for the people that are listening, what do you think, like, some of the hot spots are? Like, the places that you would suggest people to go to if they're, you know, like an incoming freshman or whatever it is. Maybe they don't know the area too well.
So one thing to distinguish is that there is a midtown and then there is a downtown. Midtown is very more, I guess you would say, bar-ish, less of a club. Downtown you have more of club. You'll just find more people dancing downtown rather than midtown. I do want to say, unfortunately, I have not played in every club in Gainesville, to be truthful. But for the most part, for the clubs that I like, I've played in all those clubs. And for Midtown, I would definitely say Social's a very good spot. It's a good venue. I like good venues. Good people go there. It's very calm, collected. But then you have other places that are kind of a little rowdy. You got Rowdy Reptiles, you got Gras, you got Fats. Those are all great places. Good music, good times. But for the most part, it's a lot of drinking.
Yeah. I say every place because it feels like it's been every place, but
yeah,
you know, there's an endless amount of places.
Places show up, leave. It's just like Gainesville's always changing.
Yeah, I mean, you even like did like some kind of something at the Midnight one time. I remember, which was like it's like a little like restaurant place at downtown.
Oh, Mystic.
Mystic
Hookah Lounge. That was actually one of my first events.
You played at Mystic?
Yes. That was,
I can't.
I know. This is a stretch.
No, I mean, that's cool, but damn.
No, that was my first event, and that did not profit so well. But, you know, it gave me a lot of experience, and that's what you have to take from everything, honestly.
So you're at a point now where you're starting to kind of branch outside of the Gainesville area. Maybe could you kind of tell us what you've been doing and maybe what you got coming down the road?
So to reiterate on that, Gainesville is a very good startup place. So like Frankie said, I've only been here for a year and a half. Just started calling myself a DJ. With that being said, that has led me to a lot of opportunities within Gainesville for other places. It's like I'm moving to Miami recently, or very soon in August, because I'm already having connections from people that I've met up here that know people in Miami that have venues, that have spots for me to play at. Same thing for Orlando, same thing for Jacksonville. I just did a Jacksonville event at Myth nightclub. Man, that was such a nice venue. Like, Gainesville is a good place for the people, but man, Orlando, Miami, Jacksonville, those are like the venue places, and I guess it's a little bit harder to get into there, but that's why I love Gainesville so much, is because it's very welcoming. You can do what you want.
How do you approach, so like we see this a lot in like the apartment industry, is that word of mouth marketing is one of the biggest and most productive ways to kind of broaden your reach from a commercial standpoint. And obviously, like, you are your business, right? So what are some of the things that you do when you walk into a club or a venue to kind of set yourself apart? Like, what are some of your your business strategies when it comes to like delivering your product?
Smile a lot. Be the nicest person that I can be to people, especially that I don't know. You never know what somebody knows, who somebody is. Everybody has something to offer. A lot of people probably have something to offer you. I mean, honestly, that's probably someone that I ended up DJing with now, but a year ago was at the place that I wanted to be at. And I went up to him, I was like, yo, how do I get to your position? He goes, honestly, go out a lot, talk to a lot of people, network. Talk about what you love, talk about what you want to do, because for the most part, you'll probably find people that are like-minded, probably want to do the same thing. I just think networking, like you said, word of mouth is good, but leaving an impact on someone, even if it's remembering their name. I mean, for the most part, it is. People didn't remember me off of the first instance. It was the fact that I went up to them and said hi to them after that first instance. You know, it's just people. Honestly, that's where I got to where I'm at. So people bring me the opportunities that got me to the level I'm at. I can only thank people. Be nice to people.
Yeah. No, that's
where
good.
do you, I mean, you're at, tell us like where you're at like right now. So I was looking at your SoundCloud. You posted about a month ago that you got to over 1,000. Is that 1,000 plays, followers? What is that on your SoundCloud?
Oh yeah, so like within a month, I got 1,000 plays between all my mixes.
Gotcha. That's just in 1 month.
Yes.
So I mean, we got to keep in mind you started like a year ago, and you started mix. You had to learn how to mix. You had to not only learn how to do that in front of people, and then you got to the point where you're like, all right, I'm gonna create my own stuff and put it on SoundCloud and your different outlets, and now you're growing your following, you're getting followers, and like this was a big moment for you.
100%. That's
Yeah.
actually a milestone that I was trying to hit ever since I like posted my first mix. How I got to that was definitely the reason why we're doing this content. You know, just producing content, just doing something. You know, I didn't know where that was going to take me at all. I did not know, but I knew that if I set a goal for something that I'm trying to do, maybe it'll get me somewhere. And you know, for the most part, just that's all that is credibility. I mean, at the end of the day, those are mixes. I kind of just use that to show like what my performance is, and
Right.
for the most part, yeah.
I mean, lately with the whole quarantine going on, you guys have been doing. When I say you guys, you and your fellow DJs, you guys have been doing a lot of live streams and just pretty much had a lot of time on your hands to put out content. Speaking of content, so tell us a little bit about what you've been doing during quarantine.
Well, ever since quarantine started, I kind of started getting frustrated at the fact that I'm only trying to produce content for myself. You know, like you said, like I'm my own business, I'm an entrepreneur. It's hard to just make content and do a lot for only you, you know? So that's why I decided to like kind of put more effort into 808 Mates, which is a collective that I'm running with a couple of other DJs and friends. And honestly, that's another thing, just trying to do something and trying to do it right. Started a live stream, 6 to 2 a.m. is usually the time that we have it, and it's just straight EDM music, open format, just basically what we would like to perform at a club we would like to play at. Yeah. And again, all that does is just bring us more opportunities, more credibility. It's just something to do, especially. Like, people just are very scared to do something, try something. So we're just trying it, honestly.
That's pretty cool. It's actually something that we do a lot is you know, it's easy to become kind of stuck in a rut when it comes to it, like creativity. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the thing that always ends up like pulling us out is either bringing more people in to kind of give new perspective to what set of problems we have in front of us, mm-hmm. or like put ourselves like out of our comfort zones, go try something new that's totally different. Like, for instance, we did like this drone video thing, like a mm-hmm. drone tour of campus.
That's lit.
And we're like, you know, it ended up being like one of our most popular videos on YouTube. But, and then Justin, actually, you know Justin, right?
My roommate.
His roommate?
You might have met him once.
Yeah,
twice.
I'm very bad with names.
So we're doing this, we're doing all of these like video tours, right? Like where we would go up into the models and be like, oh, let me show you around the 3-bedroom, the 2-bedroom, like all of these things. And like, although those are necessary, they're not really like out of the box, right?
Yeah,
so Justin came to me one day when we were walking back from campus, and he was like, have you ever heard of 73 Questions with Vogue? And I was like, no. What the heck is that?
Vogue is, though.
I was like, I've heard of Vogue, but I mean, I don't know if that's kind of telling my age, but I have no idea what that is. And he pulled up this video of this guy with a camera walking around Kylie Jenner's house and just rapid firing questions. Like, what's this? What's that? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Like all of these things. And I was like, okay. And then he showed me the views, and I was like, oh my Lord. I mean, obviously it's got Kylie Jenner in it, but like this is and Vogue.
Just one dude holding a camera doing a one take though. It
yeah,
wasn't anything
it's one
special.
straight take, and I was like, dang, this is pretty interesting. And he was like, we should do something like this for Midtown. And I was like, well, I don't know about 73 questions, but like, and so we just reversed it. We did 37 questions. That's actually our most popular video.
Yeah, 100%. People who don't realize that, like, don't fix something that's not broken. If you see something that's pretty successful, that's going in the right direction, maybe the direction you want to go in, and copy that thing. Copy it, maybe not to the fullest extent, but learn how do you make it better. Yeah, how do you make it better? How do you make it more pleasing for other viewers? How do you make it more affordable? There's just so many ways to like make it better.
I know a lot of people when it comes to content creation, and I don't know how you feel about this with music and whatnot, but when it comes to putting out content and it's something that you created on your own, do you feel that, and I don't know the answer to this question, but do you feel that you struggle sometimes with worrying about what the consumer is going to think of the content that you put out? Like, you're going to put out this mix or whatever, and you're like, man, I don't know if I want to put this out because I don't think it's good. But you don't put it out. I mean, let's say you do put it out, and it, people respond well to it, but you didn't think it would do well. Like, do you ever have that talk in your head, like, man, I don't like this, but then I should put it out anyways?
So that was that was probably one of the biggest battles that I just recently got over. That comes down to like being patient, going with the energy that you're giving out and being content with the product that you're giving out. Because at the end of the day, like, not a lot of people are doing or what you're trying to do, or specifically what you're doing, That's something my friends have always told me, is that I just beat myself up too hard. I'm my biggest enemy. I do want to produce the best content. I do want to give my 100, and sometimes when I feel like I haven't given my 100, I get really sad. I get really mad. I get in like a Kenny mode. That's what my friends call it. But what's gotten me out of that is realizing that I do have, like we talked about, fans. I do have supporters, and at the end of the day, instead of creating the content for people that I'm trying to grab, create the content for the people that I have already. And for the most part, that's kept my mind just at ease, and at that point, I'm just throwing content out. And for the most part, your friends are pretty supportive, so.
Yeah, I mean, and let them tell you if it's good or bad.
Exactly.
Don't let your like own like flavor or taste or your don't be your own enemy.
Exactly.
And to where that you may put something out that you thought was bad, but everyone loves it, and then you would have never known if you didn't put it out.
And a lot of people don't like people that give out content don't really care to ask how people feel about it. They just it's either you like it or you don't, And for me, I like to make things better. We do it. People always ask me like, "Am I excited for this event?" I'm like, honestly, this is cool and all, but right after I get off this stage, I'm thinking about the next one, how we could do it better. I think that's just like that's what pushes me basically. So there's pros and cons to that mindset basically of being your worst
That's
enemy.
like definitely, I think, like a performer mindset. Because have you ever seen the Michael Jackson documentary?
This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
So that
Obsessed
was
with
like
that.
that was like one of the biggest things in that documentary is that how Michael was just constantly trying to improve upon himself, constantly trying to make his performance better the next time around.
100%. That literally can come down to like minutes before the performance. You're still trying to make it better, But at the end of the day, that's okay. It's okay to do all of that, but what you have to learn is be okay with what's produced after all of that. Just know that you did your best, and whatever happens from doing your best, just be okay with it. Just know next time to do even better.
Yeah.
Awesome. The live streams that you've been doing has to help with that too, because it kind of went from like a, kind of quiet, off camera, like mixing and kind of learning and doing your thing, to where I was like going pretty much every weekend. You were just like on live streams for 8 hours or whatever it is, to where, if you mess up, you mess up, or like it's just there. It's like you just put it out and there's like no filter pretty much. Which is really cool. Where can people find your live streams if they're interested?
That would be Twitch. Yeah, that's usually where most of the big DJs are doing their live streams now. Facebook's good, YouTube's good. If you're like a real big corporation that's like running festivals and stuff like that, like for the most part, if you're starting off new, and this is besides DJing, if you just want to get into live streams, talking about topics that you feel like you want to talk about, Twitch is probably like the best one for that.
Yeah,
but you'd find that 808 Mates on Twitch.
Speaking of 808 Mates, tell us a little bit about that and like how that started and what's your plans with that.
Well, actually, I want to say big shout out to Zach, Andrew, Katie, Maria, all of the 808 fam. They are actually the ones that created that, and with all the pandemic going on and everything, like times like this are very unmotivating. And it's times like this where I find the most motivation. So, that's a part of having a team. It's like you pick up off each other's slack. So then, in all, we just hold each other together, all each other's glue, basically. So with that being said, since the pandemic started, I've taken over just as far as directing 808 Mates, just connecting the right people, making sure that we have content. 808 Mates actually has helped me a lot as far as just like knowing how to run a team. Because you can't do it. I learned you can't do it on your own. I've tried that already. You only get so far. You'll cap out. Just two's always better than one, and especially 3 or 4 or 5, 6.
Yeah.
The whole army.
What is 808 Mates? Like you guys do like I know you've put together a couple of events at Space Lounge, and so you guys are wanting to put together events, or you guys tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
So 808 Mates did start off doing events, and because of the pandemic, since everything's been closed, to fill in that space, we kind of turned it into a collective, to where we offer more. It's more of like an entertainment service rather than we're the ones throwing the events. More so like we can collab on an event, bring the entertainment, bring the promotion.
Gotcha.
And on top of that, we do have connections as far as like production, as far as like stages and stuff like that, lights, visuals. We have people on visuals. It's just 808 Mates is bigger than what I want to say. People. Like it's a collective, It's just made up of even the people. It's made up more than just the people in it also. You have Fract Alliance, you have so many other like collectives like House Hats around here that we all just kind of like feed off of each other's, give each other opportunities. That's what it's all about, It's like, why keep it all for yourself? You're not going to grow if you keep it all for yourself, know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, getting away from the DJing a little bit and going to what me and Charles do, working in a leasing office. I mean, having a team is like is the biggest thing. I mean,
Dude, there's no way that we could do any of this if it weren't for all the people that are in here all day, every day.
I mean, as much as we would like to replicate ourselves, like we just can't. And so like we have to.
Well, that and it wouldn't be as productive, I don't think.
100%.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, it's always nice. Like, I always ask them to get involved with social media and different things that we do, and having different like creativity, come into the mix. If I'm doing every single Instagram post, it's all gonna kind of have a similar flavor.
Exactly. 100%.
So having them come in and do different things, it adds different flavors to what we do.
100%.
Which is really cool, and I really enjoy that. And they've been doing an awesome job. So, shout out to the Midtown Leasing team.
Whoop, whoop.
We talked about festivals a little bit. Tell me about your. What are festivals like for you? What's your favorite festivals? Do you dream of DJing at a festival one day?
So literally my goal is to be able to post on Instagram a video, like that DJ type video of like a crazy job happening and the camera's behind you and the fire.
Lights and everything, the smoke.
That's literally what I'm aiming for. It's convenient that you bring that up. I actually have my Okeechobee bracelet on. Okeechobee I fell in love with, and festivals for me are like a learning experience. I don't take it any other way. I learn. It's just I go in there like a sponge. I mean, it's good to just be a sponge everywhere. You can take something from everything. That's kind of something that I always say.
True.
Festivals, that's a vacation. That's how I explain it.
Yeah.
So you want to go away, you want to get away from this real world, all of this stuff. Go listen to music with some friends. You'll learn a lot about yourself and your friends, surprisingly.
Do you have a specific one that you want to DJ at one day?
I mean, it seems like every recent festival, that's the one I have
In your head?
vision in my head.
Yeah.
So I mean, any Florida festival would definitely be like a really highlight of my career.
It's one of those like you're growing up going to the festival, and then one day you're there. It's
performing.
I mean, all these DJs, during their set, they say that. They tell us, they're like, yo, I was right there with you, right next to you, watching this same person, or obviously a different DJ, but in the same position. And I'm telling you, some people, it's either you take it in and you take it with you, or you take it in and you leave it, It's like festivals is something that I take with me to my everyday life. Just experiences is definitely a good learning tool.
Awesome. Do you have any other questions for him?
I mean, I have a lot, actually. So,
by the way, this is Charles's, I think, first time meeting Kenny. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Charles is learning on the spot here all about everything he's got going on.
So, what sort of issues have you run into aside from like your creative limitations when it comes to performing in a public area like that? Like, what are some of the things that like hoops and hurdles that you have to jump through to get yourself to the point where you're on stage performing, giving the audience what they want?
What's the grind to climb up the hill? What's that like?
Man. Specifically in my shoes, it has to do with getting fired a lot. It has to do with failing a lot, honestly. I learned the most from the hardest falls, but that only comes from doing stuff. So to get more in detail, first gig I ever performed at Bricks. I got the opportunity, didn't even have my own board at the time, so I had to let my friends come. You do what you can to get what you want. Let Zach and Andrew come for my set. We were all DJing. Unfortunately, a friend brought his own bottle. The boss seen it. Since I was affiliated, I wasn't gonna not take the blame. I ended up getting fired. That's a moment where it's just like, man, like I was putting in all my efforts into this, I finally got my spot. This was it. Like I thought I was gonna do something with this, but getting fired definitely was just like a big eye opener.
So that was first gig.
So
My very first gig. Like
your
I
first
actually
gig,
didn't even play.
One of your friends brought in his own alcohol. Is that what you're talking?
Yes, because it's like,
okay.
we just got our first gig. It's like time to celebrate,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's a
Celebrate afterwards.
Yeah,
You got to get the job done first.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's a different experience, Yeah, and it's you're young. You
Yeah.
learn, you live and you learn, Obviously, I would never do that again. Still my friends, though, make stupid mistakes.
Day
It's
one
okay.
guys. Yep.
But as far as, like, the grind, the reason why I bring that up is because those are the moments that taught me that all the effort that I was putting in other people, I need to put in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute I started doing that, that's when all of this started going off. Once I started doing things for me and not for other people, once I started going out of my way to get up early, to meet up with my boss, and that's a club owner, just to even do his real estate stuff, just to see, like, in an owner's mind, It's like, surround yourself with people that are successful. Surround yourself with, again, like-minded people. Like, this grind, again, I can only thank this grind for people. I did, I guess, I'd say 50% of the work. The other 50% has to do with people giving me the opportunity and the work that they've already put in for them to even give me that opportunity. So, yeah.
That's valuable
Yeah.
input for anyone that wants to do that. It really is.
I mean, you can apply that for anything, honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
One thing, you were talking about hanging out with, like, club owners and, like, people that you're gonna, like, end up working for as a DJ. I mean, figuring out and again, this applies to everything, like you said. Figuring out how you can help someone else
yes.
is super important. When you get into the mindset of thinking that way, it's like you walk into a situation. It's not like how can you help me? It's how can I help you?
100%.
And when you figure that out,
Everything goes in your
changes.
favor. I swear.
Yeah.
It's kind. I used to think of it as, like, manipulative thinking, but my dad changed it to when you use it for good intentions, it's smart thinking. When you're not out here scamming people, when you're actually out here trying to help people, it actually does really help.
Yeah.
you.
I mean, you're bringing these people business,
100%.
and they're bringing you
exposure.
the ability to do it.
Yeah.
100%. And again, it's just another experience. People need experience stuff. Go
Yeah.
out
So
and experience.
what's next for you? Like, I mean, obviously we're kind of in a little bit of a pickle here
Yeah.
socially.
Good
but-
preparation time, though.
Yeah. So what maybe you can speak on that. Like, what are you preparing for? What's kind of on your plate right now that you're hoping to get on?
So as far as all the content that I've been producing, it is for just honestly staying relevant until, I would say, all of this is over, whenever that be. I do plan on moving to Miami and just basically doing the same thing that I did over here, going out to the club all the time, being a presence, meeting the owners, just getting my name out there, telling people who I am, what I'm trying to do. And for the most part, when people see the grind and the passion, the fire in you, it only sparks the fire in them. And they start to, like you said, they start to think, well, how can I help this person? And how can it help me? So essentially, it's not much of a plan, but I mean,
It's a
that's
start.
the
It's
fun
the
part
it's the
about it.
dedication to
Yeah,
the plan
100%.
that's
It's
gonna
fun,
make it.
It's like like the unknown. I love not knowing stuff. People told me, like, I'm very receptive. Like, that's one of my better qualities. It's like I'll never act like I know something. It's like if you guys at any point in this podcast would have said a word or something that I don't know, I'd have no shame in telling you, like, yo, I have no clue what you're talking about. And I think people are too cool to be able to say that, or to be able to be open to the fact that they don't know something. that
Apathy
they're
rots
wrong.
the mind. It
Yeah,
does.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, you spoke earlier about, I don't know if you spoke about it earlier, if it was before the podcast, but saying that you had met people here around Gainesville that's now allowing you to go,
Yes,
to Miami.
100%.
So, like, what's that like? Like, do you have a story of, like, you meeting someone here in Gainesville and then now you guys are, like, best friends and now you're going to Miami? You're like, what's...
So actually, not anything too particular like
Yeah.
that, but the reason what even got me to move to Miami was that after the Okeechobee Music Festival, I got another fire in me, very inspired. That's when actually all the live streams started. It was after the Okeechobee Music Festival, and clubs were starting to close down, starting to lower capacity, and man, the amount of people, because you have a lot of people from Miami out here, you have a lot of just like people that are not from Gainesville, especially in this college town.
Yeah.
They would come up to me basically saying that like, yo, this person hit me up saying that they need a DJ for a spot in Miami for Miami Music Week. I didn't think, I wanted to ask you before I said yes. And in my head, I'm like, dude, say yes before you even ask me. I'm there, what time, I don't care where it is. On top of that, I had 3 or 4 or 5 other people asking me to come out to Miami for even to just party. And this is like DJs, these are like club owners, these are people that like can get me into where I need to get into. And since I am a house DJ, like I'd like to consider myself, Miami thrives off house. So as in my next step is basically to bring my house style over to Miami. You know,
Get you in the environment.
Exactly.
Yeah. And once you're there, and you're like, I mean, you're going to start meeting people right away, and you start playing a couple gigs. And,
100%.
I mean, one of the biggest things to try to capitalize on, I'm sure, and you're already probably ahead of this because I see a lot of your pictures on your Instagram and whatnot, is just making sure when you're DJing and whatnot, making sure that people know who you are up there
100%.
and making your presence known.
Make
You're
people
not just
remember
in a
you.
corner. Yeah.
It's the biggest thing that you get every
What do you do, actually? He raised something that I'm just not
No,
familiar with this whatsoever.
You've never even seen me DJ, so I understand.
What do you do as a DJ on stage to make the audience know who you are? Like, do you have a banner? Do you like say your name? Like, how does that work?
This is one of my favorite pictures that you have. So it's just you, like, DJing
Oh, that is
with
pretty
a
cool.
light behind you. I don't know what it is. You tell me about it.
It's like LED lights, but
Yeah.
like thousands of them. That's like it's a visual. I can't. LED screen.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot of
And it
lights.
just puts
a lot
up
of
your
visuals.
logo.
Yeah, and that's where I know the visual artists, and that's where they set that up. If you could ask me that question one more time.
So what are some of the things that you do on stage to make your audience know who you are?
Okay. Personally, there's what I've done is comes down to basically what I've done off the stage, like all the practice, all like the effort that I put in
Oh,
off the
okay. So
stage.
when they're there, they already know who you are. They already know what you're about.
Exactly, and it's more so, you know, you can make it, you could do your performance, but if you're not talking about it and you're not like, that's the biggest thing.
You gotta hype it up.
Yeah, you have to tell people that what you're doing, you know, so then when they come, they're expecting to see you, and especially because they don't know anything that you're about, and then they see what you produce. I mean, specifically into DJing, that comes down to like song selection. Like that's how you get people to remember you. A lot of the DJs, especially now, you have a lot of older DJs that play a lot of like older hits. So you know, a new guy comes in, he starts playing newer hits. You know, that's an easy way to get remembered. Coming on the mic, I mean, these are ways that you can kind of grab people, I mean, word of mouth for your events. I mean, talking to people just about music in general and just kind of DJing and stuff like that. People love music. Everybody loves music for the most part.
Yeah.
So it's not that hard to like get them attached to KST.
So you just said getting on the mic. Can you give us a little taste of what that might be? I'm not putting you on the spot, but I am.
Yo, what's going on? It's KST, aka KennyStayTrill here, and this is 808 Mates, the clean stream.
Nice.
There you go.
There we are.
I like that. That's cool. One of the craziest experiences you were saying just now, you know, it's about the music that you play and the songs you choose and whatnot. One of the craziest experiences that I've had when it comes to like just music at clubs or bars or whatever is I was in Miami for a weekend. I went to Live nightclub.
That's a good one.
I was with a group of friends, and a friend had invited me, and we had VIP. It was crazy. There's like, you know, we had a $50,000 bar tab. It was nuts. It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced. But as far as the music goes, I sat there and I paid attention to it for like 5-10 minutes. Like I was paying attention to it all night, but like I really wanted to absorb it for a little bit because I was like, while the surroundings of everything was like cool, it was like I have a lot of friends that I know that are into like DJing and music and whatnot, and I want to like be able to tell them about it. And honestly, I don't remember who the DJ was that night, but for about an hour, I feel like I listened to the same like 20-minute set on repeat, and it was so good that everyone was just like lit the whole hour.
Wow.
It was great. It was like I literally like every 20 minutes I heard the same song for an hour. So I heard it probably about 3 times within an hour, and it literally sounded exactly the same as the same DJ, but no one cared. It was so good, and the beat drops and the smoke and the way the environment of Live nightclub, what the song and the environment of the lights and the smoke and this and it just got everyone hyped, and it was crazy.
It's like captured a moment 3 times.
Is that a thing that people do?
So I don't know specifically as far as replaying the same thing.
Yeah.
Especially 3 times within your set, but I do know that DJs perfect the whole hour, and they will not change that hour because like why would you change something that's perfect?
Yeah.
To be honest, like I may be lying. I don't know if it was the same thing over again.
They could have felt like it was.
It felt like it was,
I
and if they played maybe the same song a couple
times. How
times.
you flow,
but
the highs and lows.
Right, and they probably changed it up throughout the hour, but dude, it was fire.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, definitely. That was probably one of my biggest critic remarks was that I didn't know how to flow. I played bangers and stuff, but there'd be times where it'd be like a whole hour of just banger, 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 and then there'll be like a whole die down hour.
Yeah.
Definitely being able to like go from a high moment down to a low. It's just
it's definitely
so much.
that.
Yeah.
It was definitely
What
that.
So like I said, I don't really know anything about this stuff, so I have a lot of questions.
Of course.
Could you give an example of like what a banger would be versus like a low? Like, how do you control that mentality of the audience? How do
that
you?
does come down to like song selection too.
Yeah.
For me, what's worked best is definitely throwing in like a song that people know, and then building up with that into a song that they don't know. That for me is just like, that's worked wonders. And for the most part, everything good has to come to an end. A lot of people get that really high moment, and then they just want to keep the energy. It's like, no, you keep the energy by bringing it down and then reaching back to that high moment. It's just like people don't realize stuff gets monotone.
Yeah.
Even if it's so good and so perfect, but if it's the same thing, it gets old.
Yeah. So now you got kind of my brain thinking. You said that you play something that people know to get the energy up, and then you hit them with something that they don't know. Is that something that DJs capitalize off of when it comes to promoting people's music who are trying to get out there? Like, do you reach
100%.
out to other people, or do they reach out to you knowing that you are a performer and you have this following and that you could promote their music for them?
100%. I mean, it's honestly another source of revenue. I mean, if you look at it, I am playing out in these clubs in front of like hundreds of people. That is a very good way to promote your music, especially if you're a rapper. I mean, I've had tons of rappers ask me like, "Yo, can you play my song?" Blah 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 blah. But yes, that is a very good way if you're not a DJ and you just have producing music, because there is a difference between DJing and music production and like being an artist basically.
Yeah. So I didn't know that those two industries. I mean, obviously, I guess you could.
You can combine
deduce
them, of
that,
course.
but-
I mean, for the most part, most DJs are artists, but in a college town like this, most DJs are just DJs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why it's very welcoming to take a person's spot.
Yeah. So where can we go to listen to some KST?
You could actually go on SoundCloud at KennyStayTrill, or if you just want to be updated as far as my events, music, mixes, stuff like that. Twitter, just made a Twitter, KennyStayTrill. Instagram, KennyStayTrill. Just about any, PS4, KennyStayTrill. Everything's about KennyStayTrill.
Catch me on Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. So is that the best? That's the best way to contact you. So if there's any venues listening or anything like that, they should reach out to you through those
100%.
medias.
Other than my email, kenruby99@gmail.com, for anyone that wants to contact business-wise. But as far as just my content and just what I do, Instagram, Twitter, KennyStayTrill, that's where you can keep up with all things KST.
Well, we appreciate you coming on
For sure.
and
Thanks
talking
for
with us.
having
This is
me.
the first episode. We hope to have you back for many
Yeah.
more.
This felt like we've done it like 50 times already.
I know. This was, honestly, I'm pretty proud. This is like the pretty good first episode.
Yeah,
I mean, everything's
100%.
gone pretty
Yeah, we're
smoothly.
super happy you came by. We
Yeah.
knew that you would resonate well with the Gainesville community.
For
so
sure. I mean,
you definitely have a big following with
Thank
that.
you. Appreciate that.
Awesome.
And
Well-
Midtown's coming up too. It's very good.
We're
stuff.
trying. We're doing our
Yeah,
best.
for
Yeah.
sure. Shout out Midtown. If you're looking for apartments, go to Midtown Apartments.
Appreciate the shout out. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you for everyone that's listening, and Kenny, we hope to wish you the best on your travels and
Thank you,
adventures
thank
and
you.
going to Miami and doing your thing, and hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, I'll be back. Don't worry.
All right.